everybody. It is Dean Z speaking to you from the University of Michigan Law School on a beautiful summer day in Ann Arbor. Today, I want to talk to you about personal statements. What's that you say? Nobody has any questions about personal statements? It's the easiest part of the application? Okay, never mind. See you later. No, just kidding. It's the worst part of the application. It's the thing I get the most questions about. I know I've done a lot of episodes already about it. You might want to go back and listen to some of them. But, I mean, I get so many more questions about personal statements than anything else that I think it is probably worth talking once or twice or 75 more times about it. So I'm talking to you right now in the very early part of summer, where if you are a super law applicant nerd, you are already getting ready to, do some applications, and you maybe are thinking, what should I be writing about in my personal statement? How do you approach that question? So first of all, tip one, you're going to have to limit yourself, right? So this is not your life history. This can't be 20 pages. This can be like 2 to 4 pages. If you have 4 full pages, you are on the cusp of being a complete lunatic, right? You really want it to be like 3.5 at most. You can't say a ton of things in 3.5 pages. So your job right now is to think broadly first, think as many topics as you possibly can, and you can write them all down. You can, just go to town writing about them, but then you have to get rid of a lot of them. You just have to cut them out, right? Because it will really muddy your message. And you got to come down to the 1, maybe 2 topics, if you can, tie them together nicely, that you feel most convey about you the information that you think is most important for an admissions team to know. So what might that be? You got to spend time. The writing process, I would say, I just went through a big writing exercise that I won't bore you with, but I spent a lot of time. I had a couple months where I knew it was going to happen, and it was a big thing that I had to write. And I spent about a month just walking around thinking about it, low key at all times. It was sort of in the back of my mind. And every once in a while, I'd take out my phone and I'd do a little voice memo, or every once in a while, I'd pull open a Word doc and I'd type a few sentences. And honestly, I never even referred back to those. It was all sort of part of the process, and it was all in there kind of cooking away, right? And then one day I read something that made it all click together. I was like, okay, I know what I'm going to write about, and I know how I'm going to approach it. And it still took, I'm going to say like 47 drafts, maybe more. But, you'll know when you're ready to start writing. Ideally you give it a lot of time. So you're thinking about it. Okay. But in general, what should you be thinking about? First of all, try and think of yourself from a third-party point of view. Pretend you're not you. Pretend you're someone describing you to a third party, and that person is saying, this is why I think Susie should go to law school. This is why I think Susie would be a great law student or a great lawyer. What is it about you that you think this person would put in that bucket of what makes you a future stupendous lawyer? Is it character traits? Is it some experience you had? Is it some point of view that, is unique to you? It could really be a lot of different things. There is no one right answer to this is what you should write about in your personal statement. But if you are really open-minded and you're just sort of going through all these possibilities, some will feel better to you than others. And, so start paying attention to which are the ones that you feel like you have more than 2 sentences to say about them. But remember, the point of this exercise is that you are making a case to a stranger about why that person should admit you to law school. So like I say, you could be talking about a lot of different things, but underlying whatever you're talking about should be that message. This is why this person will be good in this context. So you don't want to just tell some very interesting story about you that maybe anyone would like to read, but that doesn't illuminate anything about you. you don't want to, on the opposite direction, just give a list of like, here are things about me that are important for you to know, because that's not fun to read. You want to combine interesting to read with illuminating of who you are. So the first step to writing is thinking long and hard and for, an extended period, and recognizing that a lot of what you are thinking and jotting down and writing are not going to be the things that you actually end up saying when you submit your personal statement. But it is a really good way to start this process, and I would encourage you to do that. Okay, I hope that is helpful. I know it's very general and vague, but it really is. I'm promising you the way that you should start thinking about this. All right? Okay. Now for grammar. Which versus that. When do you say which? I'm not talking about the kind with brooms and hats. I'm talking about WHICH. When do you say which and when do you say that? Let me read to you some really annoying sounding advice that I was looking at on the web when I was preparing for this. That is a restrictive pronoun. It's vital to the noun to which it is referring. Blah, blah, blah. Which introduces a relative clause. It allows qualifiers that may not be essential. Blah, 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 blah. Who even knows what to make of that? I sure don't. Here's what someone taught me that I think really has served me well for like 40 years. It is this. Which sounds good in many places where it's not correct. That almost never sounds good when it's not correct. So if you're struggling, wait, should I say which or that here? Try one and try the other. And if that sounds good, stick with it. That's really it. If it doesn't sound good, then it's a which. In general, the other rule of thumb is, in general, your which is correct after a comma, right? It's very rare that which is the right word unless it is following a comma. So those are two tips. I would say this: I don't think there are very many admissions officers in this world who would ding you for misusing which or that. So I wouldn't worry about this so much for the admissions process. But there are definitely lawyers out there who will be like, if you get that wrong. So, no reason not to try to master it now. All right. I hope that's useful. Thanks, as always, to Dustin for your wonderful help today. Please, to people who are watching and listening, please give us your comments and questions by either emailing law.jd.admissions@umich.edu or leaving them in the comments wherever you're watching this. Yeah, that's all I got. Wherever you go, go blue.